The following podcast may contain spoilers.
Hey everybody, we're back again. This time we're talking about a really fun one that I was really excited to start. One that I honestly think is not getting a fair shake, so I'm excited to see what you guys will think at the end of the review. We are the Treading the Path of Heaven podcast. My name is Jonathan Kinney, joined by my co-hosts.
I'm Bill.
I'm Rich.
I am Seth.
This week we are talking about a book translated by friend of the podcast, Deathblade.
Deathblade?
Since he started I Shall Seal the Heavens, the first novel he's been translating for Wuxia World, that is not by Argen. So it's a very different feel for Deathblade because Argen has a very specific emotional spectrum that he likes to fit in. And so he's translating a different author. Obviously, it's got a very different feel. And he's also trying a lot of experimental techniques in terms of how he's translating things like naming towns instead of like Yun City, he'll name like Yunville by the Bay. Something to make it a little bit easier for Western audiences to resonate with.
Gotcha.
But this novel is it's a fun one. I didn't expect it to be at first. I went into this purely because Deathblade was translating it and I trust his taste.
Sure.
And so I was willing to give it a shake, but when I walked into it, I was like, oh god, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. It's literally like a shitty silk pantsy kind of brat ruins his family by stealing a pill from the leaders of the city their clan is nobility in. His family is literally rising from the heavens down to the shitter because of it. Because this girl tricked him because she wanted the pill and didn't give a shit about him or his city. She was on to bigger and better things, so she's just taking advantage. She views everything as people to be used, but he, is getting taken advantage of. He's getting the shit beat out of him, and then lightning strikes him. Oh man, the lightning strikes him, and now
tribulations?
No, not even like a tribulation. He gets literally struck by lightning, and people are like, "Oh, well, I guess he's dead."
Oh.
But no, in fact,
Nah, it's just lightning. Don't worry about
Regular
it.
ass lightning.
yeah, no tribulation. Just he got struck by lightning.
Oh, okay.
But when he did, he got imparted with, and I think this honestly was the thing that kept me going more than anything else. His cultivation technique for the remainder of the series, the strength of the hell-crushing godman.
Given that I've not read anything about Sage Monarch, that's a really cool thing you just said.
It's so cool. Deathblade made a t-shirt about it. It's fucking sweet.
We'll put a link to that in the description, by the way.
We're going to need to take a pause on this and now discuss our genre-based heavy metal band, each of which the album is based on a book. The Hell-Crushing God Mammoth being the theme of Sage Monarch, because that is heavy metal incarnate.
I don't know what ability is more metal sounding, the stuff from Dolu Dalu or this.
That's its own album, dude.
I'm very into this, but I would need to know what's our band called.
We'll figure it out as we go.
I mean,
Ride
it could
the
always be
tiger.
Violent Fist Squadron Tata Kaiser. I don't know. We'll go for it, but
All right, sorry, had to get that out. Back to the Monarch of Sages.
it is such a cool sounding name, and it is a very cool technique. Immediately when he awakens it, he gets, I think it's 108 million mammoth particles inside of him that are all asleep, and he wakes one.
Mammoth calorians.
This one that he awakens allows him to jump 2 ranks of combat and beat the shit out of this person that was easily trashing him before. It's cool, and that is such a cool technique, but at the same time, this is the stereotypical genre setup.
Okay.
I've read this 6 times at the beginning of a story.
Yeah.
Where it's just a shitty kid. A thing happens and now he's cool. Now he will rise to the top. Normally, that would be the case. And I've read those books. I don't hate them. I've read them to their completion. And honestly, they're a good read, but there's nothing significant or challenging or different about
That's
it.
the formula, right?
Yeah.
We've seen in 9-star Hegemon Body Art where you have a generic start because it's a formula to a genre story, a Shisha story or whatever, but to see it's all about how they flip the conceit to make it special, right? What does Sage Monarch do that changes
And
the
see,
formula.
This is what I'm really excited to talk about, and really what it took a little while for me to realize that this is in fact the difference of the book. It has made me question, like, what are those things that make up a Xuanhuan or a Zhangzhe novel? Like, and one of the things that I had always held as a tenet of these Chinese cultivation novels is that it is always a struggle against the heavens. It's something that's even stated by characters. I mean, like, in I Shall Seal the Heavens, it's literally in the title that the main character is fighting against the heavens. In Coiling Dragon, he frequently quotes how that, like, cultivation is trying to fight the natural order of the way life is supposed to run. Like, humans are this strong. Cultivating changes that. And so when you do that, the heavens are going to respond.
For sure. Why wouldn't they?
And it's something you see in almost every Chinese novel. There's always this sense of the heavens trying to punish someone for getting stronger.
Especially the MC. So the MC gets punished the hardest.
And typically, that is the thing, that even over and above what normal people would receive, they receive a higher punishment because they're, higher talent or a better grade of person, basically. So therefore, they're deserving of a harder, more harsh punishment could actually do something to them.
It's the only way they could be,
And of course, in most novels, the typical thing that happens is that this lightning tempers them. It makes them stronger. It builds their base and justifies them having an extremely strong physical body later in the thing, which I'm not going to say doesn't happen in Sage Monarch. But here's the difference in Sage Monarch. When he is imparted with the strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth, a thing is implanted in his head called the God Legion Seal. And the God Legion Seal is this little golden imp. And, like, as he cultivates and gets stronger, he learns more and more about this imp. And he learns that this golden imp is a seal, a power that's been granted from the Legion of Gods. And, like, as you get higher and stronger, that becomes more and more significant as you learn what that term actually implies. But when they're talking about the Legion of Gods and the one true sovereign Lord and all those things, they're talking about almost in, like, a Christian biblical sense, like a one omniscient, omnipresent being that all things must submit to by natural order.
This universe has it's a monotheistic, like,
it's not
base god, but
like,
there's a god so
there's an omni-god,
so domineering that all other gods lay down before him. The universe,
that it's the natural order of things, and it is super. It is at this point that I realized at some point that this is the story of the person who is backed by the Tao of the heavens. The Tao he practices is literally the Tao of the heavens. So when he's trying to make breakthroughs, what he struggles against is trying to have a world that is stable enough to allow him to break through. The world isn't strong enough to quantify and create the tribulation that can break him through to the next level. That's his struggle that he's fighting with right now.
Wow.
He can't be challenged enough.
The world he's in isn't strong enough.
Tell me about
If it was, it would break everything. So is he just traveling world to world trying to find a place stable enough for him to...
He has at this point in the story, so to speak, but I'm not going to go into that because that's much later on in what's actually happened in the plot. It's such a fun series because it's like finally we don't have someone who is like trying to hide from the heavenly Taos, who is trying to steal from it. No, the heavens want him to succeed. The heavens are actively helping him. When tribulation comes down, it couldn't hurt him because it's from the heavenly Tao, and he conforms with the heavenly Tao.
So it's just like a Faraday cage kind of guy.
When he goes to fight demons, he has the ability to literally summon fiend devils from hell and just use them to, like, power things. One of his major things that he builds is called the Hellfire Crucible. That's just literally, like, in his inner space and can refine basically anything. Evil demonic power can be refined into the power of righteousness in the heavens. That is what the purposes of the god mammoths were. They were created by the Legion of Gods to conquer fiend devils. So, like, anything that's evil is, like, weak against him because he'll just, like, show up and be like, I am from the Legion of Gods, and they're like, oh god, holy power. Like, it's literally like D&D, weakness to radiant damage.
Oh, man. He literally was given dominion over everything he would have an issue with.
This Jesus elephant.
It's great because but that's not to say this person does not struggle, because what he is struggling against is the MCs of every other Chinese cultivation story who all think they're the people that are going to steal luck from the heavens and defeat the heavenly Daos. And then they come up against him and he's like, no, I'm the way things are supposed to be.
Oh my god. So he's like the heavens have an immune system. And it's like, we're going to use this guy to purge all these dudes robbing us of our karmic luck.
It's literally the opposite of 9-star Hegemon body art.
That's insane. Jesus Christ. It is the anti 9-star. It's the anti Longchin. That's crazy.
Go listen to that episode if you haven't. Just, you know.
You should, because you deserve.
That book is so
Everyone
good.
should read that book. You deserve it. But this book quickly, it probably took me maybe 100 to 150 chapters to really, like, I was just kind of reading it because I wanted something to read and I had started. At a certain point, I started going from, this is a generic book, to, this is something special and I really like what's going on here.
A bit of a slow burn.
Yeah, it is. I kind of had that overgeared feeling where it's like, I didn't know what it was trying to do at first, but then once I figured out what it was trying to do, I started to get really into it.
I'm kind of curious. What does the novel update say about this novel? Because I like a slow burn book is kind of got a little shook about that.
The ratings are very almost. I'm not gonna say tied, but it's very like it has a 3.3 out of 5.
It's mixed
out of like 300 votes. So like
it must be people who read the first 150 and then the people who made it past that.
I legitimately think it is, because like I understand where the poor ratings from this volume come, especially from people that have read a significant amount in this genre. It seems incredibly generic at the beginning.
Well, I feel like the synopsis would have a lot to do with that. Like, what's the synopsis say, Bill?
it just pours over the beginning parts. He's hitting every key part. You know, he's from a wealthy town. He fell in love, stole a pill. Girl betrayed him. Dantian was crippled, left to die, but he was struck by lightning. As a second chance, he gains more power as he sought revenge and also find about his missing mother.
Like, you would hit
Missing
Juan Juan
mother.
bingo. 4 of those could be
Messed
free
up
spaces
Dantian.
on Juan Juan bingo.
That
Rich
entire
city.
description is a blackout. Yeah.
Oh my god, it is generic. The beginning is so
people
generic.
would look at it and go like, "Oh, this is
Oh, this is trash. This person's just trying to cash in. And, like, I get that. I understand where that comes from, because it is.
Here's a blurb from Wakashi. 2 stars. When I saw that it was Deathblade's work, I thought it would be novel at least close to I Shall Seal the Heavens. Sigh. I was very wrong. This novel is as cliche as possible with touches of irrationality.
Oh man.
You know, it would be very interesting if for all of these reviews you would also have to leave what's the last chapter that you read, so that
That would
people
be-
could have a better like idea of, you know,
I
your
mean-
mindset.
I mean, I can't be upset with someone taking a pause at 150 chapters, mainly because you would think at some. Well, honestly, how long are the chapters?
I would say probably like 2/3 of like a normal Chinese cultivation novel chapter on an average. But I honestly think it's one of those that kind of goes up or down. And the other thing is, according to Deathblade, the author does tend to do a lot of like repetition. And Deathblade has been actively editing a lot of that out. So some chapters feel shorter because he's like taken some non-relevant content out, which he has gone over very extensively in his notes. He like, that is not less work for him to do. That is way more work, because he has to check and double check and triple check that he's not removing anything that's not slightly nuanced differently or relevant to something that happens later.
Guaranteeing context is still there, and this isn't just like.
Yeah.
But also, it's not boring as hell.
Damn, Deathblade's a good translator. Goddamn.
Yeah. But no, like, I understand that rating. If I had read the first 50 chapters of this book and you asked me to describe what this book was, I would have probably almost echoed his thoughts exactly.
I mean, I have to read it because and definitely another episode. I'm going to check out the first bit of Sage Monarch, and I'll have my review at the beginning of it next episode. Well, not next episode, next time we record. But, like, I understand about a slow start. I mean, one of my favorite novels, Desolate Era's start isn't great. It really isn't. But you got to give things time, let it cook, especially if the writing's good. You don't want something to have, like, a solid beginning and be trash like Shadowhack. You know, you want something to be always building, right? If that's the case, we wouldn't have finished Overgeared.
Yeah,
You know?
no, absolutely.
Like-
And that's what I'm saying. Is like and that's what I'm trying to impress here. Like, anyone that tried to give Sage Monarch a chance, dropped it after 20, 30, 100 chapters, like, pick it back up. Give it another 50. Give it another 100. See what you think. Because I really think this one is worth it.
What are some things that set it apart in the early game that might give hints that it's slightly more than the basic cultivation novel? Is there anything?
It's hard to say because, like, it's not. Like, there's not a lot that sets it apart until... And the issue with this is, like, really, I think once the God Legion seal starts to wake up and once it starts to play a more active role in the series is, like, when the series starts to get more interesting, because that's when it starts to break apart from that typical Juan genre storyline.
Well, tell us about that. Does that guy have a name? Is he just, "Hi, I'm God Legion Seal"?
It is just the God Legion seal. Yeah, it's a little tiny golden imp. That being said, it is the Deus Ex Machina. It does not allow people to blaspheme against the glory of the Legion of Gods.
I like that.
Especially in the beginning when it starts, like we haven't talked about Stellar Transformations, but in Stellar Transformations, there's like 2 Ascension arcs. The normal realm where you start the story in, and then there was like the realm above that, and then once you've mastered that realm, there was another 3rd Ascension realm that you went to. The Legion of Gods is like the person that runs that 3rd realm in this story, or at least that's the implications thus far in the story.
Oh, wow.
The God Legion seal is the kind of existence that can like spit and wipe something out of existence. Like, the tiniest vibrations from it could kill the strongest thing that we meet for a very long time in the story.
The God Legion seal is just that strong. What is limiting its power here?
It's asleep, to be honest.
Oh, so it's like Jasmine from Against the Gods.
More or less, except it like doesn't teach that much, honestly.
Fair.
It is the thing teaching in the cultivation technique, so it is a teacher, but it doesn't like actively teach so much as just kind of like transmit information.
Okay. It's not like the portrait of Nuwa from Desolate Era where he gets to just being around it and seeing it is a blessing, so it doesn't need to do anything.
Exactly. It's not like that. It is it's such a cool story because he takes the place of the Tao of Heaven and isn't having to struggle against the heavens themselves. Like, it lends itself to actually different stories than are usually told. Here, I'm going to present a scenario to you, right? Person goes through a tournament arc, is an underdog. No one knows who he is. He's the weakest person to apply. He starts to fight. What do you think happens at the end of that tournament?
The weakest person?
The main character is the weakest person. He enters. What's the result of that tournament?
I mean, he wins.
Oh, by the way, there's a fantastic prize that's much higher than the prize that's normally given for this tournament for the winner of the first place.
Yeah, no, he's supposed to win.
He definitely wins that.
No, he loses, but displays such grand power that he gets accepted as a disciple of someone much bigger and given a nicer, shinier thing.
Oh, that is a thing.
Or he loses to...
No, you guys got it right at first. He wins, and he should get the prize. But here's the thing. There's a bigger, badder dude that's also a genius cultivator that's been kind of blessed by realms above, that has already kind of been the big dog on campus before this guy showed up. So he just shows up, and he's like, no, I'm taking the reward. And he just takes it, gives it to the second place person, and is like, and now I'm going to kill you and all your friends and family because I'm that strong and I can do that.
Yeah.
That almost happens like 4 times. This becomes an enmity between him and this guy that, like, they just fight.
This is a recurring...
He doesn't, but, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't get rewards from that. He gets rewards from the Tao of the Heavens. Unlike every other cultivation story, he's not getting rewards from people and from the things he's doing.
Okay, so the traditional MC, either A, he has awful karmic luck, or he has really good karmic luck, and his karmic luck lets him take other people's foundation. Arrogant young masters show up, they kill him, they take that person's foundation, they move forward. Or they get lucky chances and all this other stuff. Is this an MC without the lucky chances?
Yeah, he doesn't need lucky chances because everything is rightfully his.
Yeah, it was always his.
It is everyone else's place to kneel and worship before him, the person who will ascend rightfully to the top as the successor of the one true God and the representative of the Legion of the Glory of God. The glory of the Legion of God.
So all of these curs are stealing from him every time they take a legacy.
Anything
everything is his.
Everything is his. So, like,
do you ask the sun why it shines?
it's literally those sorts of things. There's a moment where someone is like, but the heavens will fight you. And he's like, I control the heavens. If I do this, the heavens will do what I say.
The heavens are currently fighting you.
Is he actively that? Does he like have knowledge that he's that blessed?
Absolutely. He is super aware of this from pretty early on in the story, and like that difference is what creates a different story. Because like the point of this story was to create a generic genre starting point. It was important because that starting point is what creates the very obvious foil for the subtle differences between the way this story takes and a typical novel takes. And you're going to see a lot of those same tropes.
They gotta sucker you in first. Yeah.
But they almost always get resolved differently because the conflicts, again, are not coming from the heavens trying to stop this person. They're coming from men trying to stop him and trying to rob the Legion of Gods.
Men having the audacity to rebel against
Men
the will of
trying
heaven.
to seize the luck of heaven.
To be fair, like, all the other ones are the same way. Like, even 9-star Hegemon Body Art, he not only has to fight the will of heavens, but also has to fight the will of men, even non-chosen.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I'm not saying that, like, other cultivation novels aren't schemed upon. Of course they are. Like, Young Masters and Devious Elders are, like,
usually it's
tropes
because
at this point.
it's because those characters have awful luck, or those characters, because they've taken this stuff, people covet their luck. Because this character has everything. It's just him defending his rightful luck.
The best part is, like, a thing from the realm, like, under the Legion of the Glory of Gods would still be a thing worth almost destroying the realms he's in for fighting over. Like, people would descend down to his realm to fight for it. And people assume lots of times that the stuff he has is way weaker than he is and are still trying to fight for him for it. And then they'll, like, be like, oh, I'm going to destroy you and attack your soul. And then they'll be like, hey, what's that tiny... Oh, God!
Oh.
And they'll be like, no one can blaspheme against the Legion of Gods.
It's just an entire chapter of just that in big impact text.
It's crazy. There's a lot of stuff I'm not talking about, like the fucking... His cultivation system is all based around mammoths and, like, mega mammoths. And, like, later he meets a whole clan that has god mammoth blood. And they're like, yeah, every time we go to this training mission down to the Hells, we always do the best because we have god mammoth blood and we're naturally empowered to fight god, fiend devils. And then, like, he'll show up and he'll be like, yes, I am the blood that created the god mammoths. And it's like, oh god, why do you suppress my bloodline?
I gotta ask you a question. You have to explain. What do you mean by 108,000 mammoth particles? What is a mammoth particle?
108, I think it's like 108 mil. Like, it's like 1,800,000 or 1,080,000 or something.
That's
it's an exorbitant amount. I don't know. It's just kind of the cultivation system. It's basically, as the particles awaken and activate in his body, he gains more physical strength.
They
like,
do different things.
No, pretty much. Although, like, as he eventually awakens more of them and gets more, like, like the blood of the true god and starts to fully awaken more of his...
How did they get the blood of the true god?
Well, you remember the Hellfire Crucible, right?
Yeah.
Well, all you have to do is kill people realms above you and then throw them in there and then take all their magical energy. And then also probably right. Take a planet and destroy all of it and use most of the magical essence for that and use it to bolster the own planet. Like, there's a lot of really cool shit. Like, he starts to take his, like, parts of his home and, like, create this fortress out of it. He's another person that, like, almost everything he does is with the intentions of strengthening his home. Like, when he gets stronger, one of the first things he almost always does is goes back home, increases the defenses of his area, makes the land that he's in more of a holy land for cultivation for his, like, brothers and father. I don't know, man. It's a very fun story. And like I said, it seems like it's going to be the most generic story you're going to read out there. It's hard to tell stories about this book. Like, specific stories. One, because things happen, like, very fast in this book a lot of the times. Like, there's a lot of choices where he just, like, does some crazy shit.
Sure.
And he does not care about offending anyone because he rightfully views himself as being on top of everyone.
So there's less indecision and waffling and walking around trying to decide about a thing, and it's just stuff happens.
Unlike the usual confidence that martial cultivators have, he's, like, confident because he's like, no, I have the best one. I have the best one. I am the best.
It's like you walk
The
around.
mammoths tell me so.
Walking around with the mandate of heaven, of course I'm going to proclaim all this is mine. I'm
I've
gonna
got
do
a
that.
tiny man in my head and mammoths in my blood.
Imps and the blood of the true God. Please explain to me this cultivation. What are the levels of cultivation in this?
It's weird because the strength of Hellcrushing God Mammoth like is cultivated kind of alongside normal cultivation.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got your typical like you form your key, you temper your body. There's Jantian. After that,
Your
you go up to
lifeblood.
sea expansion, where you can create a sea of key outside of your body that you can just use to endlessly power your attacks, or draw it within you to like create like a hyper powerful state. But then you can't use your sea for a while.
Yeah.
Above that is the Demi Immortal, and then above that is the Demolisher. There's the life seizing level, which was somewhere in there. That's kind of like the prepping your body to become a Jantian.
Mm-hmm.
You literally have to steal life from heaven, so it's one of the first phases where you like really gain a lot of longevity. As you get to that point, you start to realize that like in primal times, that was where you actually were a cultivator. Pretty much everyone did everything up to that.
Yeah.
Once you got to a life seizer, you were like the basic bitch. That was the beginning of actual cultivation treasury. And the only people that got above that got to the Jantian realm, those were the actual energy warriors. Whatever.
So everything, so like key condensation foundation, key condensation, all this other stuff. Well, I mean, of course, this is the start, but then there's the sea expansion. Is Ocean? That's crazy.
Ocean's before. I don't know. I just realized that I'm mixing up nicer Hegemon body art in this series. There's the key condensation, and then there is the physical one, and then there's life seizing where you gain longevity from the heavens. Above that is the Great Sage level, which is like very similar to like Saints from Coiling Dragon. It was like the strongest thing that people were really aware of when the story started.
That makes sense, because I was a little thrown off, because it was like, man, sea expansion while in Hoshian, man, the Hoshian humans are strong.
Yeah, but no.
It had to be back then, yo. They fought like dinosaurs and shit. I don't know.
You guys watching Primal? Shit.
But yeah, no, like then above that is the Great Sage, is the sea expansion realm, and then there's the fucking it's a bunch of cool shit. Again, I might be mixing up 9-star Hegemon body art, but Great Sage above Great Sage might be Demi Immortal. Yeah, I think I'm just adding 9-star Hegemon body arts into this.
I mean,
cultivation
I
system.
like 9-star Hegemon backyards. I like this
Again,
cultivation system.
I told everyone from the beginning that book was going to ruin all other Chinese novels for me, and it's somewhat true. But again, this one is different than that one, almost diametrically opposed.
Yeah, maybe we can see how some ways it's different in Genre Savage.
Play the theme song. There's not a theme song.
Let's see. I got some tags here. We've talked about, it says clan building and kingdom building. You said he like keeps beefing up his home front. What's that like?
Yeah, no, like it goes at like every step of the way. So like at the beginning, he's like, "Oh, I have now taken over this town. Now my clan is powerful because they have all the resources of this town." And then it's like, "Oh, I'm this strong and I'm a member of this college. So now we have the backing of this college, and now no one in this surrounding area will deal with this. So now our kingdom has conquered a few surrounding cities, arised as a kingdom instead, and now we've got all the resources of that. So now my brothers and father is in an even better position."
How does a man with basically the mandate of heaven conquer? Did you show up and be like, "This is mine now," or like?
Usually by like having the biggest stick, so to speak. And he does have a nice stick. He uses basically two things. One, like actual direct physical attacks. Like he has this one attack called the Hand of the One God that is like an attack, but also kind of a mystical, profound, magical art. So like you can attack it and it can bring life into creation. But you can use it and it can also destroy things or seal things or just deliver a strong attack. It's kind of bullshit God heaven powers.
So it's like the Star Seizing Hand, but like way
Star
better.
Seizing Hand was like literally reaching out and crushing stars with your hands. This one is, I bring life into existence.
Yeah. No, there's
destroy life.
Some of my favorite scenes are like when they'll show him fighting like, "Oh, a 6th level bladed demon. Oh man, this thing by itself could create chaos in the world and cause tons of people to have to band together to even have a chance at defeating it." And then like he'll summon like thousands of them and just like be pouring him into his crucible to gain power to do something. Not even like a significant thing, like powering an attack. But the other thing he uses is the Infernal Deity Spear.
Ooh.
Which is just a spear that is like designed to defeat demons. Oh, I will mention this is actually a pretty fun part because this art is literally designed to take the power of hell and use it to dominate hell. And like turn it into righteous power to dominate hell. It has a lot of like ties to demonic stuff. So when he's starting as a cultivator, a lot of his arts show up as like demonic wings or like a demonic spear. And it actually kind of gets him branded as like
evil
in a lot of the beginning parts, which is why he suffers a lot of that attacks of man as they like proclaim that they're fighting heavens, which is like the funniest thing because they're literally like proclaiming the glory of heavens to this person who is the literal representation of the glory of heavens. It's a good time. We have more tags and genres, Abby?
Oh boy, do we.
But yeah, that's the
boy,
kingdom
do
building. Like,
we.
it's every step of the way he does that.
Along the same veins as the hell-crushing god mammoth, I see beast and mythical beasts. Are they like really cool, neat, creepy, crawly dudes out there?
There are. A lot of the beginning stuff has to do with just fighting people. Like magical beasts very much have that like low intelligence. They get harvested for cores kind of function in the story until later. But once there's a little bit of a kind of a minor ascension arc in the story, we start to meet people that have like bestial bloodlines that have humanoid forms, much like you see in the Infernal arc in Coiling Dragon, where like once they've gotten to a certain power, they can kind of take a humanoid form. Yeah, that's really the way to say it.
Would that ever bring up racism? That's a nice little tag there.
I'd say so. Like, it's hard to say that it's racist in the sense that like we understand racism because it's not like a white dude telling a black dude go fuck yourself or whatever. It's not racism as we think about it. It's racism almost literally of like, hey, we're a mammoth people and we hate the shark people. Or like we're from this city and we're racist against people, like bigoted against people from that city or that continent. More so than like the racism that we think of it here in the western side of the world here.
I guess we could round this out with, I see Tao comprehension and enlightenment. Is there like any really cool like cultivation moments where it's just like, oh, that's neat.
I understand everything.
Example, Murder Ocean.
You just why is it always the example?
Because it's basically the coolest thing that's ever happened. Thank you, Argan. He spent 100 years as a purple murder ocean. Like, what do you want?
And then he was just like, oh wait, I'm a dude. I forgot. Let me fix
Now I'm gonna
that.
be a dude again and not a purple murder ocean.
You know, you can switch.
Go read I Shall Seal the Heavens. I would say there are cool cultivation moments, but it's not things like that. It's much more things like the understanding of the profound mysteries of velocity in the things where like a breakthrough will like lead to a certain surge in power that'll help him win a fight.
Some more Coiling Dragon-esque.
Yeah, but at the same time, like we're still very much in that like period where like every moment is precious. Like in terms of the story, he's still young. He still has that like, you know, that fiery yang potential.
Full of talent.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't reached that like elder part yet.
I think I'm just gonna do that when I see children. I was like, oh, look at you. Full of talent.
Haven't extended all of your vital essence.
I won't go that far. That might get me arrested.
Yeah, no. That might be way more information than a child is ready for. Are we on to business? Is there
I
much
think
more to
we
talk
are.
about?
Like, I mean, there's a lot to say about this book, but like the thing is, it's a book that's very hard to talk about because like as I've said before, there's a lot of generic elements in it. The part about it and what's exciting about it is that as the story progresses, those generic elements aren't resolved in the ways that they are always resolved in these stories. So like it takes these generic elements and slowly starts to subvert them more and more as he diverges from the typical Juan Zhansha hero.
So there are very few more interesting stories to tell, is what you're getting at,
No,
without
they're like-
spoiling.
there aren't.
Like
No.
how it does the thing.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like telling stories to the degree you would have to really make them interesting and set them apart from the generic stories would be telling the entire story in detail. And like
Sure.
I feel that would really rob you if you are interested in reading this story. So
Okay.
I would
well
recommend
then,
it. If you've set this one down, give it a chance. If you haven't picked it up, put some time in.
if you're that guy who gave it a 3-star review or whatever, just like push through a little bit further.
I mean, if you read 200 chapters and you still hated it, I mean, like, whatever. Maybe
Yeah,
this
it's
book's
just
just not for you. I am genuinely and sincerely enjoying this, and a lot more than I thought I was going to when we started.
I do want to correct an oversight on my part. I never mentioned the author. The name is, I have a couple of entries here, Divine Dreamwalker or Ecstatic Dream Machine, which this is just a
I like
beautiful
a
thing.
static dream machine.
I've always seen it referred to as Divine Dreamwalker, but
EDM at its finest, Ecstatic Dream Machine.
Well,
But anyways,
Divine Dreamwalker is DDR, so that's good too.
DDW. I mean, I guess if you're taking the last letter.
Yeah, sure.
So I guess we're moving on to business.
Yeah, on to business. Hopefully I'll get all this right. So, we've got a couple things. We've got a review.
Bum, bum, bum.
It's been a minute since we've had a review.
yeah, there's a new one. It was real nice.
Let's see. This is from someone in Canada. It says, "Hey all, just want to give a shout out to all of you for the fabulous work you're doing, spreading the love and joy of light novels. I remember I started reading the light novels after reading 5 chapters of the Tales and Demons and Gods manga. Unable to wait, I searched for more and discovered the world of light novels, Young Masters Get Embodied, and the F5 Sect. After reading a dozen or so novels, it feels gratifying to hear others sharing the same love as I felt reading them. Continue to do this amazing work, and let's work towards spreading these amazing hidden treasures." From Sword Noob 001. No, just 1001.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so kind, Sword Noob 01. I hope that's a Jomchi reference.
I never thought we'd get a review from a Jamchi. I'm so proud.
Thank you, Jomchi.
That's awesome. We will do our best. We love trying to help people find new books that they might be excited about, and maybe sometimes give books a second chance.
Now it's time to say some names.
Yep. Thank you so much to our two
Patrons whose
high-level
names
patrons,
we say. Yeah.
on our that support us, Yuki Okami and James.
James. Also, I didn't say Yuki Okami, so now I have. If you are interested in the kind of stuff that could happen if you are a patron of ours, the last episode that we did at 2 hours about Dolu Dalu, I know we said it a bunch during that, but that was specifically at Yuki Okami's behest.
He turned in his merit points to the sect and decreed that the episode would be.
Yep. So that's the kind of pull you get if you are a patron. Now that is a high level patron, but also we release our episodes a week early. This episode is going to be available a week before you heard it, probably.
And you'll get that at the lowest possible.
Yes, like
donation
it's
tier.
$2. It's
So what did he do? Did he bring in like a dragon fang, like some bones?
I mean,
Yeah, he was able to, on his journeys out in the wilderness, he was able to bring back a great deal of resources.
Give me some Hell Mammoth particles, please.
yeah,
Like,
we got some good mats
give
out
me
of
like
it.
2 of those. It might fix my knee problem. It'd be great.
Yeah, no. I think maybe one. I think maybe one would fix your knee problem.
Half. Give me a half a particle.
I'll take 2, please.
Let me get 2 though.
Also, we have a YouTube channel that we are putting stuff on. Like, it's mostly our podcast, but there might be other stuff there soon. Who knows? We also have a Twitter that you can follow us on as Tiger Roller Coaster. We also have an email address that you can send whatever kind of stuff you want.
And a Discord that is active and growing more active with every episode.
Yeah, man.
That's cool.
Email is tiger.rollercoaster@gmail.com, and link to the Discord is in the description. Please come join us. We have fun in there. Otherwise, what didn't we get to talk about? I know this is going to be a weird one for this.
A lot.
We didn't get to talk about Great Emperor Yama. We didn't get to talk about the fucking Chancellor of the Demi-Immortal Institute. What a fucking prick.
I like a good guy to
I
hate.
could imagine the Chancellor of the Demi-Immortal Institute's a fucking asshole.
We didn't get to
I'd
talk.
be an asshole too if I was the Chancellor of the Demi-Immortal Institute.
think I'd earned it.
We didn't get to talk about the God Emperor Pagoda. We didn't get to talk about the time where he purified the piece of the Yor Wild's heart that resided in the center of his rich, lush continent.
Man, that sounds
Why does it sound like a
wonderful.
dirty?
That sounds very
reference?
porny, yeah.
Welcome to my rich, lush.
Yeah, I can't-
The
I'm
deepest
trying
part
to
of my rich,
Get inside
lush
my girlfriend's rich, lush continent.
Oh, God. All right. I think that'll have to fucking kill it for the evening.
We didn't get to talk about the time where a dude was losing that was related to a person he was close to, and he was like, "Oh wait, you use demonic arts? Here, let me give you some enlightenment on on how devils and heavens really work." And they instantly had a breakthrough and won their fight.
Oh, good
I guess
stuff.
it do be like that.
Yeah, man.
You don't think it'd be like it is?
But it do.
All
right,
yeah,
guys.
sorry I couldn't give more explicit stories. Like I said, I would like to, but I feel like it would be uniquely robbing you of an experience in this case.
Yeah.
Wait for the Knights.
Yeah, wait for the Knights. We might do a Knights on this one.
Pretty much everyone that I have talked to that has actually stuck out through that beginning part has actually really enjoyed this novel.
This was a suggestion from a person on our Discord. Also, you can get books done after a long push with that. It was, I think, it was Cody. It was,
Well, I suggested this to Cody.
oh,
Actually,
never mind.
Dun-dun.
Backward.
yeah, I started reading this right when it came out because, again, friend of the podcast. And Cody was looking for something to read, and I'm like, read this, and he did, and he was like, oh, it's good. And I'm
Cody
like,
got fucking way hype about it.
I was
That's
really
what it
excited because pretty much until Cody said that, all I had seen were the honestly very negative reviews going throughout. So
Maybe you peer pressured him into liking it.
I don't
Maybe
know.
he was like, "Ooh, Kenny likes it. I should like it." Maybe you're a tastemaker, man.
Oh my god,
I would-
trendsetter.
That
Yeah.
is, like, I mean, that's wonderful if that happens because my only goal in creating this podcast has ever been to have more people read these books or
Yeah.
read more of them. So.
I would say that we're
Mission
hitting
success.
that goal more and more every day. Tell your friends, word of mouth is the best advertisement, etc. Ha ha! Stole it from another podcast. Talk to you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Tiger Roller Coaster Productions. Tigers are scary. You try to get off.